start in the foreground. Remember, our objects are large in the foreground. So I'm going to start with this part of a dog. He's going to be coming off the page. He's going to be really big. There's his tail. We'll get some detail in just a little bit. Alright, something else over here. Let's see. How about springtime? How about a tulip? So let's draw a large tulip. A little bud right here. And overlapping. Remember, overlapping gives us that illusion of depth as well, so these two are overlapping. Alright, now we're going to work in our middle ground. And what belongs with a dog but a doghouse? Now, right now is when I want to go ahead and put in my horizon line. Decide where that is. How much sky would you like to see? Nice horizontal line. Okay. And before we do a vanishing point, okay, I'm going to do a doghouse in the middle ground. And first of all, you're just going to draw the front of the doghouse. I'm going to start with a square shape. Have a dog opening here. Let's make a angular front. That's the basic shape. Give it a little thickness on the roof. Like this. Okay, now we're ready for the vanishing point. Decide where on the horizon line you want the vanishing point, and it really can be anywhere, but you're just going to have one. So I'm going to put it put it about right here. All right. Remember, lines that would normally be parallel or going away from you will go to the vanishing point. So I'm going to line up the edge at the bottom of the doghouse to the vanishing point. You don't have to go all the way because you'll be erasing, but go just as far as you would like. How deep you want your doghouse. Alright, where the roof starts, we need to line up to the vanishing point. And the top of the roof. Those are those three main lines. Okay, now, how do we know how to stop off the doghouse at the edge? Remember, you go back up to the front of the doghouse and you look at the direction of this line. And that happens to be diagonal. You want to do the same diagonal. So slide and just slide and stop it where you would like. So this line matches this, they're parallel, and this is a vertical line here, so this needs to be vertical as well. So there is the doghouse. Now a little more specifics, we want to have some wood. So go ahead and just on the front of your house, go ahead using a ruler nice and straight, put in your wood slats, however many you'd like. They can go vertical if you would like. Okay, now also here too as well. Okay, now where these wood slats stopped on the side, you're going to need to line up the vanishing point to those points and put in the wood slats on the side. Again, all things on the side of this doghouse need to head to the vanishing point. Okay, now as far as the shingles, decide how many rows you're going to have. Let's see, I'm going to have maybe 4 rows of shingles, so I like to put my little marks here, then line to the vanishing point. They're going to first look like they're wood, but then I'll show you how to make them look like shingles. They need to go to the vanishing point. And now again, remember diagonal. So diagonal, diagonal, and as you head back, they're going to maybe appear to be a little smaller as you go back. Keep those that same diagonal. So there's my doghouse. Now as far as the inside of the doghouse, if you line up this corner to the vanishing point and draw a line, that'll show you the side, that particular side. So there's the inside. You could also do like this to give it a little depth there in the opening. Alright, what else do I want in the middle ground? How about a water bowl for my dog? Give up some water. And a tree. Okay, we want to have some shade for our dog. So I'm going to start here in my trunk. It's going to be a nice big tree. We'll give it a little detail. We'll see a little bit of detail. Not as much in the foreground, but you need to have a little bit there. Okay, so we got my middle ground. And now, how about a fence? We're going to have a fence. Our dog's going to be in a fence. We'll be using the vanishing point for this. So decide, first of all, toward the back, where your fence is going to stop. I'm going to stop mine about right here. And I'm just going to draw 2 horizontal lines. And the fence further back in the middle ground is not going to be that tall. So I'm going to make it this tall. I'm going to make it come behind that tree just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Now, depends on what kind of slats you want for your tree. For your fence. I'm not going to take time to use your ruler, but you know, take your time, use your ruler and make some vertical lines. They can be horizontal. Mine are going to be vertical. So there's my fence there. Now I'm going to have it wrapping around here. This is where we're going to use the vanishing point. Actually, I'm going to make my fence go a little bit beyond the vanishing point. Okay. A little bit beyond. Now, how do you know how to line up the side? You're going to take this back corner here, the top corner, line it up to the vanishing point, and you're going to draw a line. You just make it go off the page. And you're going to do the same thing to the bottom of the fence. So that corner right there, line it up to the vanishing point, and then draw a line, and it's going to go off the page. Now, how do we do the slats? This is very, very important. Vertical stays vertical, so you don't want to make these diagonal. It'll look like the fence is falling over. Also, your first one is going to be probably your thickest. It is going to be your thickest. So have a nice vertical line. So here's my first slat of my fence. See that? Okay. As you head back, keep it vertical, but they're going to start to get a little bit closer together. Keep it vertical though. Very, very, very important. They'll look like they're getting closer together as you go back there. Now also another thing to add is on the top of the fence, you want to have maybe one more, go to the vanishing point, have a thin line here to show the top of the fence, to make it look more three-dimensional like that. Alright, anything else? Let's have some trees coming back here toward our background. Maybe some pine trees. Again, more overlapping. The more you overlap, the more it gives us that illusion of depth. And very lightly, I'll be coloring these later, but back in the background, I'm going to put in some hills or some mountains. And then I'm going to stop. So now I've cleaned it up a little bit. I've outlined everything with a really thin black Sharpie, except for the background. I'll leave that light back there. And now I'm ready to color. I'm going to add some color. I'm going to add some shading, because shading and shadows helps give that illusion of depth. So we're going to start, and I like to start in the foreground. And first of all, I want to figure out where my sun is. I'm going to have my sun coming from the left side. I'm not going to draw my sun, but I know it's coming from the left side. So therefore, on the right side of everything, I'll start with the dog, it's going to be a little darker. So I'm going to add in some detail with marker and the foreground objects. You can just do this with your color pencil, pressing down harder, or crayon. I'm just adding a little bit of detail with brown marker. Or my labradoodle. It's going to be a labradoodle. In my grass, you would have taller grass down at the bottom. More detail. You could add a little bit of darkness in the leaves. Now, as your grass goes back in space, it's going to separate a little bit. You're not going to see as much. So we don't need a whole lot of detail there. You could add a little brown over here to this tree with the marker. Maybe the right side of each of the limbs. And that's about all I'm going to do with the marker. So now I'm going to start coloring. I'm going to start in the sky, work my way down. That atmospheric perspective, and the things are, if it's a bright, pretty day, you're going to have a darker sky at the top. So press down hard. I'm using crayon, it takes less time. So I can get through this for you. You can use color pencil, you can do the same thing with paint. I'm going to get lighter and lighter as I come down to the mountains or the hills. Notice how my whole arm is moving instead of like this. Came up, which makes it neater. Over here as well. And I'm going to kind of draw faster and maybe not as neat as I took a lot of time. Alright, mountains. Again, they appear to be in the purple tints, shades of purple, very, very light. I've got a little bit of when one hill overlaps another, I've got a little bit of shading on the one behind it. So whenever that overlapping, we have a reddish purple here. They're really, really light. Don't see any detail. There could be maybe a little row of trees right here, but again, it'd be very light in color. Don't even see the tree trunks. There's a little row of trees. So get my mountains over here. Okay, I'll do my grass in just a minute. Okay, these trees over here, these are in the middle brown still. I'm going to get a little darker again on the right side. Just my crayon. And lighter on the left. Same thing with the trucks. You see them there. Okay, we'll get to the ground in a minute. Let's work on some of this stuff. Alright. Again, it would be lighter on the left, so I'll ease up on my pressure. Try to get 3 values and things that you can see clearly in the middle ground. So I've got dark, medium value, and then a lighter value on the left side. I can even warm it up a little bit of yellow over here. Alright, my tree top. I'm going to start off and I'm just going to color all sort of a light green. Add some more green texture there. Now I'm going to get darker over here to the right side. Press down harder with your crayon or color pencils. If you wanted to go a little bit darker, if that wasn't dark enough, you can add, I'm not going to press down hard with the black, but I could add some black with that green to get it really dark over here. Okay, I think I will have a blue water bowl here, so I'm going to get a little darker here. Actually the opposite on the inside like that. At my doghouse. I'm going to have a red doghouse. So this side of the doghouse is going to be, it's sort of a medium value. Again, I'll get neater. I took my time. This little part's going to be really dark in there. Alright, the light, again, color one direction and you color another on top. That should even it out. Alright, light's coming here, so this side of the doghouse is going to be darker. Pressing down harder with the red. If that's not dark enough, you can add again a little black to it, or opposite on the color wheel is green. And believe it or not, if you add a little green to the red, it'll just kind of like a burnt red color. Alright, and my roof would be pretty dark over here. So it's dark brown. No sun is over here. This part will be a little lighter right here. Alright, there's my doghouse. Alright, working my way down. Let's see my dog. I've got this sort of tan color. Lighter on the left. You can press down harder on the right side. Maybe a little darker brown here, this side. Add some more texture. Alright, my tulips. I'll have some red tulips. This is pink. Maybe a little purple. No, let's go with red. Right, one thing with shading here too, if I color all these really light, it would look like pink first. And when these overlap, when one thing overlaps another, you have a little shadow on the one underneath. So this petal's behind this one, so I'm going to get a little darker behind it and sort of blend it out. Same thing with here, same thing here. So do that first. And then, again, on the right side of the petals, you can get a little bit darker. Warm it up with a little bit of yellow, if you like. Alright, my leaves. Again, a little darker on the right, left side lighter, even on the stems. Again, overlapping right there, so this petal would be a little darker than that. Not petal, leaf, sorry. Warm it up a little bit with some yellow green. Alright, before I do the grass, let's talk about the fence. It's going to be a white fence. So which part of the fence would be white? This would be white because the light's coming here, and this side would have a little grayness to it. So I would take a gray, a black really lightly, and I'm going to give some shading to this back fence here. Talk about shadows in a minute. One thing I added was a road right here as well, or it could be a path. To my first drawing, there's a tree right there. Alright, let's talk about my road or my path. It's going to be a little bit, it's going to get lighter as you go back. So I'm just sticking with gray for now. And just get lighter and lighter and lighter as you go back. Alright, I'm ready for my grass. Alright. Foreground is it's brighter in color. It's going to be a little darker, so I'm going to just press down hard with my green here. Way across. Again, large areas, I'm using my whole arm. So here's my finished grass. I got lighter and lighter and lighter as you go back toward the horizon line. I even add a little bit of yellow back here, yellow-green. So now let's talk about shadows. The shadows really it helps us know that these objects are three-dimensional, because three-dimensional objects will cast shadows if there's daylight. So again, you know where your light's hit. Figure out where your light is. My light's coming here. So the inside of my doghouse will be darker green. As well as cast a shadow on the grass. I'm just darkening it with green. This bowl would also have a shadow. Shadows are flat shapes. Alright, this tree. Same direction. Again, you don't worry about the vanishing point with your shadows. You're not worried. It's where the sun is coming. So this tree would go here, and guess what? It would probably, with gray here, cast a shadow going up the fence. And then this fence would also, we might see a little bit darker green on the right side of the fence as well. And that tree may even have a shadow going into the road. Down here, you might have a little bit of shadow here from this leaf. You might have some little, definitely would be darker underneath the dog. And let's see, anywhere else have a shadow? That's about it. So we have all the things we talked about. We've got foreground, middle ground, background. Things are lighter in the background. They get smaller in size. We have overlapping that helps give that illusion of depth. We have now shading and shadows. And the last thing is to sign your